Welcome everyone to the L7C Podcast Wrestling Edition. Today we are back with our typical bi-weekly wrestling news, and we have our wrestling expert, Jacob Mason, with us. How you doing today, sir?
I'm fantastic, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. It's finally good to have one of our normal wrestling shows. We're finally out of that post-WrestleMania. I know last episode we really went to town on that women's top 50 list and the releases. So now we have a normal show, but then especially WWE, they never fail us, and then giving us the not normal. So we're not even gonna wait. We're just gonna hop right into the main question in the wrestling world. Backlash. Jacob, what the hell were zombies doing at Backlash?
Yeah, no one knows. Besides Dave Bautista still having pull somehow with the company.
Mm-hmm.
Because I sent you a meme that said I had Vince McMahon saying like we feel like your intelligence is being insulted, and fast forward 30 years later, and we have zombies outside the ring. Now I understand the whole like trying to make it kid friendly thing, but like holy shit, like really, like poor Damian Priest is. I mean, I know it's nice like working with Bad Bunny and all that stuff, but like he can't even get out of this gimmicky shit right now, which is terrible.
Yeah, that was really bad, and he even had a lumberjack match again on Monday. But the zombie thing, I'm just like, what are we doing here? Like, what the hell are we really doing here? And then Miz at the end gets ate up by zombies. Like, so how do you make him come back? Obviously, he got ate by zombies, so he's gonna have to be gone for a long time. And Lord and behold, we find out that you shared that he has a torn ACL now.
Yeah. Poor Miz.
Jeez.
Which is the first time he's been majorly injured.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is really impressive when you think about it.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's really crazy to think about too, that this zombie thing happens and we find out torn ACL. It's like, man, we're one of those zombie people a little too rough on him, but now he's gonna be out, and Damian Priest, like you said, Lord knows what he's gonna be doing going forward. But I just know that was extremely stupid, and they could have promoted Dave Bautista's movie in another way.
Yeah, they certainly could have done it like the UFC did the night before and just say that Army of the Dead 3 times every match. So, they could have done it that way too, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. And for what we're talking about, guys, WWE Backlash was just this Sunday, and Jacob actually almost forgot Backlash was happening.
Yeah, I was enjoying my lazy Sunday, and my phone message popped up from you, and it said Rey Mysterio and his son won a title, and I went, what the? How'd they win a title? Oh shit! There's a pay-per-view tonight.
Well, I honestly feel like this one, I don't feel like there was that much like publishing like for it. Like there wasn't that much like, hey, publicity. Backlash is coming. Yeah, publicity. Like it was just like, oh, I remembered because I saw like on Twitter, like, hey, Backlash is today. Also, the name is WWE Backlash, which is terrible. And any real wrestling fan who calls it WWE Backlash needs to be banned because it is called Backlash. Adding WrestleMania stuff is just terrible. But yeah, Rey and Dominic won the titles off Ziggler and Robert Roode, first father-son to ever hold the tag team titles, which is kind of crazy because if you watch wrestling back in mid-2000s, Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero were having ladder matches for custody papers of Dominic when he was like 5. And here we go, 20-some years later, how Rey and Dominic are champs. So that was cool to see, and they got to get to be on ESPN, on Sports Nation. So, I mean, I thought that was really cool. But, I mean, the real main thing about this whole pay-per-view was Cesaro versus Roman Reigns. Cesaro's first time wrestling for the WWE Championship or Universal Championship. And it had a crazy set that Roman Reigns is like wrestled in like 30-something title matches and Cesaro's 0. So Jacob, what did you think about that match, and what do you think going forward with that?
I like the match. I was shocked that Roman went over clean, though.
No help either. Yeah.
Right. No, it was clean as a whistle, which I wasn't expecting. I thought, they'd swerve us with some USO drama or whatnot. But it was a good match. It was certainly it was a very good match. Going forward, man, there's a lot of opportunities happening here, because are we going to see? Well, obviously, we're going to see Seth versus Cesaro again.
Yeah,
that's going to be a thing. I know me and you were talking. I think it's going to end up coming down to Cesaro. It's SummerSlam. There's a couple different ways you could go about this, but this could be does Cesaro win Money in the Bank to end up in the triple threat at SummerSlam, or, because I don't know. I think we're going to end up seeing Seth go over on Cesaro. Cesaro wins the Money in the Bank contract, and then Cesaro uses it at SummerSlam to go over on those two. I don't know. There's a lot of different options here. I will say, like, don't be surprised, when we talk about the next pay-per-view where we're going to be like, Seth went over on Cesaro. I really think that's going to happen.
Yeah, and they switched up the pay-per-view order, because now in June we're getting Hell in a Cell, which is typically a fall October pay-per-view. Rumor has it that they're doing that because July they're trying to really get fans for Money in the Bank. So I would expect if they're trying to get fans for Money in the Bank, that something big is going to happen. So they want the fan pop, and Cesaro winning Money in the Bank would be a very big fan pop. So, man, I don't know. What did you think about them moving Hell in a Cell to the summer?
I was really confused about it, because at first, when they first addressed that, I went, "Oh, what the hell? So why?" I didn't understand. Still, nothing's confirmed yet, but yeah, it was really weird, because Hell in a Cell, that's a fall thing. That's a Halloween-ish, Thanksgiving-ish type, Christmas-ish type deal thing, and I'm just like, it doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah,
but it is what it is. We'll see. Them moving Extreme Rules to October. I think it's October they're going to have it.
Mm-hmm.
That one's kind of makes sense, because if you think last year they were doing like a bunch of like super gimmicky shit. So I mean, I can see them doing a bunch of Halloween stuff, which will be quote unquote great for the kids.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Well, we'll see about that, because even they can mess it up to make it great for the kids. I know you had some issues with Backlash, how they did not even have the Intercontinental Championship up for that, and I think I just saw that they're doing a Fatal 4-Way for the title on SmackDown, but they didn't defend it on the pay-per-view, which is like, what the hell?
Yeah, that was all right. So you have your backstage moment with who else was it? Was it Adam Priest and what's her name? Sonya Deville.
Adam Pearce and Sonya, yeah.
That backstage moment, and they're like, "Oh, well, you'll defend a Fatal 4-Way on SmackDown." I'm like, "You're making this title look weak. You're making this title look absolutely weak." Which, let's be honest, it is. It is a weak title. Yeah. It was doing something when you had Big E have it, but all in all, you have what the hell's his name? Apollo Crews or Apollo or whatever it is this week with the terrible accent. You have, it doesn't look strong with him, or Captain Baba or whatever the hell that other guy's name is, General Nz's, or I don't know. These names are stupid. It's all bad. But regardless, you're taking this weak title and making it look weaker. Why? It's your Intercontinental title. This needs to be defended on every pay-per-view. That is the workhorse title. Mm-hmm. Make it that. It's dumb. Like, I'm glad to see, like, oh, hey, title match on SmackDown, but at the same time, you're coming hot off a pay-per-view. Why? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and it's not even in a one-on-one. It's a fatal four-way, which I think the Intercontinental Championship has been reduced to having fatal four-way, six-man ladder matches just to get some buzz with it. And then also, speaking of SmackDown, random SmackDown, how Shayna and Nia lost the titles to Natty and Tamina. That was, I did not have that on my wrestling bingo board that day. That was out of the blue.
I didn't have this on any of the bingo sheets. I was still holding out for Lana to take the titles. That is dead in the water, by the way. I just don't see this happening anymore. But what? Why? Why are we having? Why? I don't understand it. Why those two? Was anybody that behind them?
They had some passionate promos, and I know I saw obviously on Twitter fellow wrestlers congratulating them. I think it was more congratulating Tamina because she's been in the company for a bit, and this is her first title ever.
And there's a reason for that. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I was more excited to see Natty get another title because I do like Natty. Mm-hmm. But Tamina is absolute trash. She's absolute garbage. She can't do a promo. She can't wrestle to save her life. She's just there. She's just there because we all know who her father is.
And family bloodline. But it's crazy in that family bloodline, she's the least accomplished. Like, she's not gotten any rub besides this title. That's crazy to think about from that family.
I mean, I think I'm saying something. I mean, okay, realistic question. Is there anyone out of your friends group that you know who is a Tamina fan?
No.
Have you ever known anyone to be a Tamina fan? Like an actual, like, oh yeah, Tamina deserves the best. Like, do you know anyone?
No.
Yeah, there's a reason for it. Nobody likes Tamina. Literally nobody. Nobody. I don't know why Vince has kept her for so long.
Hey, man, he keeps the people related to bloodlines that help the company. You know this.
But how is she ever helping?
She's another body, and that's all I can think. She's a bigger body that if someone beats her, they're just like, oh my gosh, they just beat the giant Tamina.
Tamina is one of those people that just gets like relevant maybe once every 2 years. Has that like, oh hey, it's Tamina. Oh, goodbye, Tamina. And that's it. I don't. It's dumb. Those titles look weak also. Not a fan.
Yeah, and it was on SmackDown, like a random SmackDown. If you were gonna have them lose the title, you should have just did it at WrestleMania. And then Natty and Tamina were on Raw, and they were in something with Alexa Bliss. So I don't know if Alexa. We don't know what she's been doing, but we don't know if she wants the titles, but she doesn't have a partner. But we'll wait to see on that. We're gonna come back to WWE later, but let's switch it back to AEW because we haven't talked about them in a bit. And everyone knows I love Lana. She does have a husband who used to be known as Rusev, now Mirio. He just won a title, didn't he, Jacob?
Yes, sir. He is the new TNT television champion, which is pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
I was really glad to see him win that. I mean, finally, we're going to see, Rusev, Miro. We're finally going to see what he can do with the title because the last title he had was a lot. Did he have the tag titles in WWE?
I'm trying to remember who his tag partner would even be.
His tag partner was Aiden English back in Rusev day. I don't think he ever had the titles.
No, because they broke up because Aiden English, I remember what happened in Milwaukee, talking about Lana cheating on Rusev with him. But the storylines that man was going through, and obviously the last one we saw him with the whole Liv Morgan, Bobby Lashley situation, but no, I don't think he ever held those titles.
Yeah, so I can't remember the last title Rusev has had since the United States title.
Well, I did have an Intercontinental one in between, I believe.
It wasn't memorable then because no. His run with that US title was amazing. And if the IC title run, it obviously didn't mean shit. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do with him now. I mean, we all were excited to see Rusev go to AEW. So I don't know. I thought the way he came in was not great, being the best man and whatever that stupid storyline was, because it was dumb. It was really dumb. But he's on his own now. He's a heel and he's got a title. That should be good.
Cody Rhodes called Mirio the most dominant heavyweight champ in wrestling right now. Do you agree with that?
No. No, not even close. He's had it a week.
I know, but I guess Cody was gassing him up, and I just saw that. I was like, wow, I don't know if the tribal chief would agree with that, but hey.
I mean, he's not even the most dominant guy in AEW.
I know. No, I don't know what Cody was saying with that, but hey, that's him. But speaking of AEW, I want to ask this now because obviously they had their blood and guts match a couple weeks back. And a lot of people from WWE's exec things like, oh, this match set wrestling back 30 years. But then when they had the zombie match, Chris Jericho had the tweet because, he's always talking. Oh, my gosh, that zombie match sent wrestling back 30 years. In your opinion, which one do you think set wrestling back? The blood and guts one or the zombie one?
I don't think either match set the wrestling world back 30 years. I mean, listen, sip your own coffee and just calm down there, boys. Like, the zombie match was stupid because zombies. And I know a lot of people were mad about the blood guts, like because of the ending with Jericho and he fell onto the crash mat. But at the same time, people will freak out like, oh, people were unsafe if they land on concrete or something. Wrestling fans are some of the most, and we're one of them, so I'll gladly talk shit about ourselves here. Some of the most like pickiest, what's the word here? Flip-floppity
fan bases
on the planet where this is terrible, and then they'll do something to fix it. I'm like, that looks stupid. Well, like, what do you want? You want your wrestlers to be safe. Chris Jericho broke his arm, so even through the crash mats, the dude's broke his arm, so whatever. Like, I could care less. I thought the zombie match was way stupider because I feel like it just insulted our intelligence way worse. How about you?
Yeah, that zombie match was tough because it's like, come on, man. If zombies eat the Miz, that means he can never come back to wrestling because he's dead. But blood and guts, even though, I mean, that was blood and guts. I mean, for some, that definitely was not for kids, but I don't think it's set the wrestling world back. Honestly, sometimes you need a little color, as the old heads would say, just to really put the point across. Just think about it. Even though it was on an accident, that color, when Becky Lynch had, everyone knows the signature pose, when she was on that with the stand on the fans, and she had the blood coming down her face after Nia punched her, and that made Becky Lynch. I don't think Becky Lynch is the man without that blood, because it wouldn't be the same impact.
I agree, 100%.
I mean, sometimes you need it, man. Like, or Stone Cold with Hart at WrestleMania, with the blood coming down his face, like that made Stone. Like, sometimes you really need it. Like, if you want to talk about insulting intelligence, you're telling me these people are punching and kicking and slamming each other, and not once blood's gonna come out. Like, come on, man. Someone's gonna get cut. Someone's gonna get decked. That blood's coming out. So obviously that wasn't really for the kids, but the That zombie thing, that was bad. Like, I sat there and I was like, I can't believe this is a real match. Like, what the hell are we doing? And then I want to say with AEW, because they're already announcing that they're going to start touring again soon and like going to live events. I think about June, July. And like, how much pressure now is on other wrestling promotions to like figure out that they need to get back out there, don't you think? If AEW is going to be out there first.
Yeah, I think it puts. Well, I mean, all right, so basically, this is putting pressure on Ring of Honor. This is putting pressure on Impact. I don't think this is putting any pressure on WWE, in my opinion, because honestly, any pressure AEW is putting on WWE, Vince is putting like triple that because Vince wants to make that money.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is whatever, but it's looking good for wrestling fans. Like, we're starting to finally, like, the world is curing. Nature is finally coming back, or everything's going back to its natural way, or whatever the hell people were saying last year. But I mean, like, even like locally, we're finally getting the one local promotion is finally having they're finally having a show. They haven't had that since last year. So like, I'm really excited about seeing these places finally going and doing stuff. And you're going to see it at all these, and I think the UFC and I think the Super Bowl and I think WrestleMania really put a precedent out there for a lot of these states and stuff, where I think a lot of these states are going to open up stuff because they'll see all these other states getting all this money. And they'll be like, I want some of that money. And so you're going to see, I think, more and more people opening up. I mean, not to get political or whatnot.
Yeah. No, man, I'm really excited for this because when I checked because I was down vacationing with my wife and I was like, when's the last time I used an Uber? And then I looked up my thing and it was 2018 when we went to Elimination Chamber pay-per-view here in Columbus. And I'm like, I've not been to a live wrestling show since 2018. Like, what do we do? Like, I was on like a consistent going to everyone in Columbus every Monday or pay-per-view. And I'm like, what the hell are we doing here? So whenever tickets get sold, like, hey, Raw or SmackDown, I'll be right there. Because again, even though there are times where the product is absolute trash on TV, being at a wrestling event live, big or small, and getting that energy, there's really not that much like it, in my opinion.
Oh, I agree. And what I love about going to, especially a WWE show, is the vast amount of people of different backgrounds and just different humans that'll be sitting right next to each other and everyone's cheering, booing, doing whatever. Like, I remember going to a show down in Columbus, and seeing some 400-pound dude sit next to this absolute smoke show, sitting next to this dude, like a couple dudes in a business suit who obviously just came from work and got free tickets. But everyone's cheering. Everyone's having such a good time. It is such, the quote, The Rock here, it's electric. It really is. And I don't care if you're at the WWE show or a little indie show. Man, I mean, I've been to a lot of indie shows and had a ton of fun. I mean, it's all good. It's always a good time.
Yeah, and even to relate it to other people, let's just say like relating wrestling to like anime or comics. A wrestling event is its very own like Comic-Con or like an expo, because you see everyone coming in there, wrestling shirts, wrestling gear, their belts. Like, that's the only time you're allowed to have something that big and gold go through security with those belts. Like, everyone's like decked out, and like you said, man, no one knows anything about each other except you love this stuff. And like the events that I've been through is just crazy. Obviously, for people who know, Cena's my favorite guy, and to be in the middle of when I saw Cena and Owens Money in the Bank, and in between, to be sitting right in the middle of one side going to Let's Go Cena, Cena sucks, and you're just turning back and forth. You're just like, this is what wrestling's all about. Like, I don't know any of these freaking people. I'll never see them again, probably, unless I unless they come again to an event and we're all decked in wrestling gear and no one's getting made fun of because shit, if you come not in wrestling gear, they're like, why are you here? Like, get a wrestling shirt on.
Facts. But I'm going to say this. If you bring a title to a WWE show as a fan, you have to defend that belt.
Amen.
Quit bringing your belts and not defending it, you sons of bitches.
I 100% agree. There was something sticking with Cody Rhodes that you brought up that I feel like is a super good topic. If you want to talk about like the Cody Charlotte Flair like double standard, you brought it up, man. Like you should really hit on this. This was really good stuff. You sharing it with me.
All right, so basically, I seen someone post online. It said, "Why is there a double standard, or what is the difference between Charlotte Flair, basically riding her daddy's coattails, and Cody Rhodes? Essentially, Cody's very open about it. I am my father's son. I'm the son of a plumber. Why is there such a double standard?" Basically, between Charlotte Flair and Cody Rhodes, both children of uber famous wrestlers. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And that it had a lot of comments, and I had to sit back and even think about that because I'm like, yeah, I can't stand Charlotte. I'm not a Charlotte fan. I'm a massive Cody Rhodes fan, though. Massive mark for him. And it's like, okay, well, why is this? I've seen a bunch of different answers. For me personally, well, actually, no. Let's start with you. Let's go with you. What's your take on this, buddy?
Yeah, I'm looking at the tweet right now that you shared with me back. This was May 14th. And I had to really sit back and think because I know what I said initially is like, well, Cody Rhodes had 0 world titles in WWE. 0. And Charlotte Flair already has the most in women's history. And we're on record saying that she's going to have the most of all time, men and women, by the time this is all. So that's already saying something. And I think it didn't help Charlotte at the beginning, too, because her father was always there. If you remember one of her first NXT takeover, I think, was it NXT takeover? I forget which one, where you had her and Rick and then Hart and Natty. And like the men were in the corner and they were going out. I was like, nah. And they kept pushing like Charlotte Flair, this is Ric Flair's daughter. He's had a whole bunch of storylines with him. Her most recent one outside of this was with him. And it still would have been going on if Lacey Evans didn't get pregnant. So it's like every time they find a way to insert Rick, they do, which I do not like. And we're talking about stories that I didn't like. If you remember Charlotte's storyline with Paige, where God knows who approved this nonsense, where Paige brings up Charlotte's dead brother who committed suicide. I'm like, who the hell wrote this? But Cody, you always saw him in WWE as a workhorse guy, part of Legacy, Intercontinental Championships. Like, he never got to be the top person. Charlotte was literally the top person on her first pay-per-view in WWE. She came in, ended Nikki's reign, hasn't looked back since. But it's interesting with her because there are other family people in wrestling. I mean, obviously there's Randy Orton, but he's never he had one thing with his dad, but he's better than his dad. So it's like, okay. And he's more famous than his dad. Obviously, The Rock, and the Rock is significantly more famous than his dad. And like that family line, he's the most famous person there. But The Rock has opened the doors for, I want to talk about people we don't like. Roman Reigns, Tamina, Nia Jax. We do like the Usos, but look at all those people. His daughter. Shoot, I think the only reason Eva Marie's back is because Rock called Vince is like, hey, take Eva back. She's part of my $7 production line or whatever the hell it is. But it's tough, man. Maybe, I don't want to say because Charlotte's a woman. I really don't think that. It's just really the fact that Charlotte does get handed a whole bunch of stuff, and she's really good. Like, I'm not debating that she's not good. It's just, I do think this tweet does have a point because Cody will openly say, "Yeah, I'm building my dad's legacy," but Charlotte now recently is like, and I know you've seen it. I don't want to ride my dad's coattails, and then you just go off on that. But it's tough because there's a lot of wrestlers. If they weren't related to other people, they would not be in any wrestling business.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, for me personally, I just look at, if you just break down just the WWE careers of Cody and Charlotte, she's just gotten shoved down her throats. Whether that's her fault, Vince's fault, anyone's fault, Ric Flair's fault, I don't know. All I know is I don't like it. I know a ton of people who don't like it. I think you have one friend who's like, "Oh, hell!" Wait, which one is the Queen fan?
Justin,
that's right. All right, so Justin's the only one. You know, shout out to Justin. He's the man because I don't, I don't want him just screw the wrestling podcast. So Justin's the only person I know who likes Charlotte. Other than that, I don't know anyone who likes Charlotte. Look at Cody though. Cody did not get handed everything. Actually, Cody got shit on.
Mm-hmm. Stardust.
Stardust. I mean, Cody was white hot. Remember when Cody had the mustache and him and Sandow were the Rhodes Scholars? They were white hot. Mm-hmm. And they would have been tag team champions. I think they should have been, honestly. But it's hard to compete with Team Hell No at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but okay, that's fine and dandy. But you see Cody get shit on, ask for his release, and then goes to the Indies, absolutely kills it. Just kills the Indies. And then him, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega start AEW.
Mm-hmm.
Man, like, you can say what you want, but your daddy, if you're going to ride your dad's coattails, you can only ride them so far. Mm-hmm. I think Cody has been able to find that sweet spot of, I am my father's son. Long live Dusty Rhodes. But I am Cody Rhodes. I am my own man. I have formed my own thing. I'm doing my own thing. Mm-hmm. All while representing my family in the best light possible. Charlotte has not found that. Charlotte has either been full-blown, I'm Ric Flair's daughter, or I hate Ric Flair.
Yeah.
There hasn't been I'm just Charlotte Flair. I mean, maybe things will change with this whole, like, I'm the opportunity now, or whatever the hell her dumbass is doing. But she needs to find that sweet spot. And until she does, there's always going to be the quote unquote double standard for her. And I mean, I don't think it's that much of a double standard, honestly. But that's just me.
Yeah, it's crazy too with Charlotte, because obviously, I mean, at this current time, her dad is the person tied with the most titles in history, in WWE history, along with John. So the fact that, and like all these other people, they've eclipsed the top ones have eclipsed their parents. Maybe except for Cody. I don't know if you could say Cody's eclipsed Dusty just yet, but the stuff he's doing, obviously getting AEW off the ground is on his way. But Dusty was instrumental in like doing NXT stuff. But Charlotte, I mean, right now it's just crazy because you can make the argument that she's a better wrestler than her dad. If you really wanted to go that deep end, if you really wanted to, she's more athletic than her dad. I mean, because you got to think Rick was not the most athletic dude. But I'm just saying, if you really wanted to go that route, because some people, I'm not saying she is, but some people have said that she is better than her dad. And
you know, fine. Athletic wise, I'll give you that. Athletic wise, better. As a wrestler, though, no. And she's certainly not as pretty as Ric Flair. I'll just say that right now.
Well,
Ric Flair's a beautiful man.
And I don't know the relationship between like Charlotte and Randy Orton, but I think she should be asking Randy for like advice. Like, how do you like really separate yourself from your people, like from your parents, like because you forget that Randy's like a third generation superstar. Like you really freaking do.
You know what? You know what else? Honestly, though, I feel like Cowboy Bob Orton, who was his dad, was nowhere near as popular as Randy Orton was, though.
Oh no,
he was never a main event star. I feel like, if I remember correctly, Cowboy Bob Orton was a mid card pretty much his whole career. And I forget who was his grandpa.
I'm forgetting who is something Orton too. I'm trying to think too. And then obviously, since Roman is not The Rock's son or brother, he's cousins, and they don't bring that up. They only bring it up when they want to. So it's like, but with the ooze, like every time they're like, "Well, you don't own the family ooze," I'm like, "Okay, well, where's The Rock at?" But it's like there's another person who he's formed his own thing, and so the match we've said this now like 3 years, Rock and Roman collide, but. Oh man, like you said, she needs to find that sweet spot because she's never just been like, I'm here to win, I'm here to be the best. F my last name, but like you said, some of her prolific storylines, her dad's with her the whole way. The other ones, her and her dad are the main feud.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, because I'm thinking about this about my last comment. Is it because Ric Flair was such a uber mega star that like his only real rival, like when it comes to popularity, was Hulk Hogan? In my opinion, like Dusty Rhodes was popular, but the two top stars at that time were Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan. Is it because Ric Flair was so top star popular and Charlotte Flair is so top star popular, where everyone else was either a mid-carder or stayed a mid-card or, surpassed their parents or whatnot? Because, when you start thinking, I'm thinking about all these other wrestlers who are second-gen, third-gen wrestlers. You can even take Gorillas of Destiny from New Japan. Their dad is Haku.
Mm-hmm.
But yet nobody's comparing them, to Haku. Even Haku was part of the Faces of Fear. And Gorillas of Destiny's a tag team. So, but you don't see that comparison either. I don't know. What do you think?
I think, man, the only way to really see this going forward is to see what Simone Johnson gets, Rock's daughter. Because because you want to talk about popular, then your dad's The Rock. Like, shoot, by the time you're wrestling with all this stuff, if he's really bored, your dad might be president by the time you're actually wrestling. So that's going to be interesting, because then we're going to be like, if she starts winning titles, we're going to be like, this is Charlotte Flair all over again.
Well, it should work out, because, it'll end up being The Rock's daughter versus Charlotte Flair, and Rock's daughter will retire Charlotte.
Wow, when Charlotte's a 30-time champion?
Yeah, exactly. He's going to fill that void. Boom. Simone, or whatever he said her name was.
30-time champion. I really feel like I think she's actually going to hit like 25. I really do.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Which is crazy. And did you talk about Kenny Omega potentially going against Andrade?
Oh, it's not potentially. It is now happening. So.
Oh, confirmed. Okay.
Yeah, at Triple A Mania. I don't know. It's their the biggest promotion in Mexico. So WWE Mexico. Mm-hmm. We're getting Andrade versus Kenny Omega for the AAA Lucha Libre title, whatever it's called. I don't know too much about it, but I do know it's going to be a hell of a match.
Yeah, we're talking about Flair, and now we're talking about her fiance, Mr. Andrade. I still can't believe, man, that he's gone, especially being who he's engaged to. But yeah, that's going to be a hell of a match. Like, that's going to be really good. I see Andrade. Kenny Omega he's not built enough to be carrying like 50 belts. The dude carries.
I can see, you know what? No, I can see it. And you want to know why I can see it? Because Austin Aries was the belt collector at one point, and he had like, I don't know, 20-some belts. If Austin Aries can do it, and he pissed off every company ever.
Yes, he did. No one has pissed off anyone like him.
I don't know who's pissed off more companies, Austin Aries or Tessa Blanchard.
Oh, that's God. Now I don't know, because here we go again. Let's just talk. Why is she? Or here we go. Week 500. Tessa Blanchard is still not signed. Like, oh Lord, I'm gonna say Austin right now, but if Tessa's not signed by like SummerSlam, I might have to switch Tessa, because there's no she's so good, and that means she must have really like been bad in the back, and no one wants to take her.
And what's crazy is apparently she's done some terrible things, but no one's come out to officially confirm what all she's done. All we know is she has pissed people off, and that's apparent because she's not signed.
Yeah, I mean, we might have to switch from going in on Lana every 2 weeks to, man, we have to do Tessa watches. Like, we're going to have to start doing Tessa watches, because AEW needs her. Like, what the hell?
Oh, AEW's going to be getting a couple new people here in, I don't know, 60 days. Yep, they'll be getting a couple. They'll be getting Billy and Peyton.
Yep. They'll be getting them. They'll be getting Chelsea Green too.
Yep, sure. Well, she wants to do Playboy apparently.
Well, she can do that at AEW. There's no third-party bands over there. Remember, we talked about.
They'll support it.
They will, because remember, when the WWE dropped that third-party band, AEW's like, remember, you can wrestle and Twitch here. And they were promoting their Twitch gamer tag. So, oh man, that's gonna be, Tessa. I don't know, but Andrade and Kenny, that's gonna be a really good match. Also, you shared some news with me today about Ricochet, throwing some shade a little bit, but I don't really think it was shade. But some people,
I don't think it was shade either.
I think people are being a little soft around here on this one.
Little soft?
A little soft, but basically Ricochet said no one can do what he does as a high flyer. People brought up Io Shira. Ricochet praised her, but still say he's a better high flyer. Don't know why people got mad. I really don't. One, it's his opinion. You don't like it, that's perfectly fine. Two, I mean, the first match Ricochet I ever saw was that Ricochet Osprey match. So, which I was gymnastics and ballerina and wrestling and all that in one. So I agree. I think he's a better high flyer than Io, and one of the best high flyers right now is just obviously he's just not getting any shine in WWE. What do you think?
Oh, I don't know why people are upset with Ricochet. It makes no sense. Ricochet is 10 times a better high flyer than Io Shira. Mm-hmm. I mean, let's just be honest. And me and my wife were talking about this because this is what I said to you. Me and my wife were in the car, and we were talking about that. And I'm going to go out and throw out a question here. Is Io Shira the best women's high flyer on all of WWE right now?
I think so. I'm not thinking of anyone who. I know Flair has her moonsault, but I think so.
I said the exact same thing. I'm like, Charlotte Flair has the best damn moonsault. I'll give her that. Honestly, though, I'm going to say she's not.
Who do you think is?
Bianca Belair.
Bianca, yeah, she can do a 450. Yeah.
That girl can do anything she puts her mind to. She's that freaking good.
You just don't. I forget, because you really don't think of her as a high flyer. I think of her as like a power. She's strong, obviously, part of her gimmick. But that's true. She's probably the most athletic person on the roster.
and I'm not trying to take shots at Io Shirai. I mean, I know she's an avid listener of the L7C Wrestling podcast, but in all actuality, Io Shirai throws a crossbody pretty much.
Yeah.
And honestly, if Kairi Sane was still there, I'd say she's better than Io Shirai.
Kairi, I would agree. I think Kairi
because
was
Kairi the meanest elbow off the top rope ever. I think her elbow is better than Randy Savage's. I'm just throwing it out there.
Ooh, and some controversy.
Oh yeah, we're hot takes all day. Let's go. Pissing off everybody.
Getting some controversy. I mean, Kairi Sane, she was sweet. She was something special. Like, man, but yeah, Bianca, I'm not mad about that answer about her being the best high flyer. I didn't even think of her as a high flyer. I was just thinking of Charlotte's moonsault.
Yeah, because I started thinking, I'm like, there's not too many women that go off the top rope. And then, like, once I started thinking, shit, you know who else? Ember Moon.
Ember Moon. That's a good one.
I mean, once again, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to throw shade at Io Shirai. But honestly, I think you could easily make that argument for Bianca Belair or make the argument for Ember Moon as the best women's high flyer.
Those are good ones. You don't even think of them as high flyer.
No. You know what we need? We need WWE to make like a top 50 women's high flyer list.
No, we don't.
No,
we don't. They should be banned from making lists. And I'm serious. Like,
okay then.
I can't wait. Well, no, you know what? I need. Since they did top 50 women's, I need to see the top 50 men's. Like, that's the one I need to see because that I know is gonna piss people off.
Oof.
And I mean,
yeah.
And if you want to pick one of those slow weeks that we have, maybe leading up to like SummerSlam, if we want to try and do it, I mean, we can. But when WWE makes theirs and Triple H is like number 2, and I like Triple H, but he ain't number 2.
Yeah, I don't know if we want, because that is a very controversial topic. I mean, I'm all about it. I'll definitely do it. But if we get to one of these slow weeks, like if we can get Justin and get Byron, hey guys, pick your top 20 male wrestlers of all time. Oof. That would it's not a bad idea for future podcasting here.
It's not, but that one, it would have to be, we only talk about that list of that because that would get hot. Like I thought the women would hit, and the women did piss it off. But the men, I'm telling you, in WWE, they'll put Triple H at 3. I know they will.
If they're putting Triple H at 3, where does Vince McMahon line up in top 50? Because he has to be on this list. It'd be great if they just put him at number 1. I'd actually be okay with it.
I'm trying to think. They had Stephanie on the women's in the 20s, which I don't even agree with that. And Vince McMahon was a terrible wrestler, but unfortunately he was a champion. They probably, well, if he's making the list, he'll probably put himself in top 10, but they'll probably put him in like the 20s, low 20s, early 30s.
Like I said, I wish they'd put him at number 1 just because it would just piss off everybody, and I would just love it.
Like, it'd be crazy, man, because like now we're on this, and like, where would WWE put Punk? Where would WWE put Brock? God damn, where would WWE put John or Randy? Or like Savage or like Ultimate, like, oh my goodness.
Hogan. Where do you put Bruno Sammartino?
I think they would put him in the top 10. And I mean, I would get if people would push back because, well, we didn't see him wrestle except for like tapes. But the dude was basically champion for like an entire decade. But I honestly think WWE would probably put Hogan. No, they put Hogan or Austin 1 and 2. I believe they would do that.
Yeah, I mean,
And whoever's won, number 2 fans are gonna get pissed.
If they would put Hogan number 1 and Austin number 2, it would be a lot more pushback than if it was flip-flopped.
Mm-hmm.
Because the world still hates Hulk Hogan right now.
Oh, we saw that at WrestleMania.
So, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I would definitely be down for something like that eventually.
Where would they put Shawn? Oh my goodness. Daniel Bryan, Shawn, like Jericho. Like they would put something stupid too. They put like Razor Ramon in the top 12.
Oh yeah. All those click guys. They'd have X-Pac in the top 20.
Kevin Nash would be in the top 6, and I probably would just not record for like a month.
Well, we'd have to record that. We'd have to.
Dude, anyone listening, think of who you would think would be in the top 20 WWE men's of all time list if they were making it. Then think of your own. And if you guys are really digging that type of thing, let us know, and we'll try and get Justin and Byron on and give us some time when we have one of these slow weeks. Because I mean, the time that gets to SummerSlam, sometimes it is slow unless Money in the Bank has fans, and now we'll be picking some stuff up. But let us know, because I would need some time to actually like sit and think about it long and hard. Ooh.
Oh, for sure.
You're talking about Bruno. What about like a Bob Backlund? Like
oh, Bruno would have to go above Bob Backlund.
Yeah, then you have Flair, since we were talking about Flair.
You have Flair, you have Dusty Rhodes. I mean, Piper.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. Now the song we'll be thinking about, so.
But is there anything else you want to hit on before we sign off today?
I'm trying to think, because honestly, like, nothing crazy happened really since our last podcast, because normally, like you saw in the last one, something always happens crazy the following day.
Yeah.
And nothing insane has happened, minus we had a lackluster pay-per-view with zombies. And that was pretty much it, honestly. Like it's been kind of slow. And I don't know, NXT has been pulling less viewers than they did on Wednesdays.
Which is kind of crazy because they're going direct competition with AEW, but people are like, oh, well, NXT's on Tuesday. Whatever. But I mean, hopefully that.
But I feel like it's that time of year, though.
Oh, yeah.
Things are always slow because normally we're dealing with Extreme Rules, which is always a trash pay-per-view anymore. So.
Oh, yeah.
The last time I cared about a Extreme Rules, and you might have been there, was when it was Alberto Del Rio, Dolph Ziggler, and Jack Swagger.
Wow, that's
and
a throwback.
Yeah, this is a throwback, but they had a match in Columbus. It was Zeb Coulter, Big E, and who was the guy who announced Alberto Del Rio?
Ricardo? Was it Ricardo?
Ricardo Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm.
It was a triple threat like ladder match, and whoever won could pick the stipulation for the match. And seeing Zeb Coulter wrestle Big E and Ricardo was like the best thing ever.
That was wild. I would say there's one thing that Jimmy Uso's back, and not gonna lie, I'm liking Jimmy Uso because he told Tribal Chief, "You ain't gonna talk to me in any certain type of way," and I said, "Oh yeah," and you know it's
he's
crazy.
got a shirt
that says "Nobody's Bitch." You have to be on Fox. I was like, there's no way that shirt would be on USA. Nothing blocked out either. Like, it's a black shirt, white letters, "Nobody's Bitch." Like, and WWE's selling that shit too. I was like, man, if I buy that, where the hell would I wear it?
And if you want that shirt, get it now, because he's about to be Roman's bitch. Let's be honest. Get it fast. It's not going to be on for long.
Yeah, but
yeah, other than that, there's nothing else I can think of. How about you?
No, there's really nothing I can think of. We did have a wrestling passing though this past week.
That's true.
Oh man, I'm blanking on his name. Please,
New Jack.
New Jack, yeah, and I know, and Paul Heyman obviously did paid his respect on SmackDown talk. But we did have a wrestling passage, and it's crazy because, which this got you super hot about the Hall of Fame. We already hit the 1 year anniversary of Shad passing away when he saved his son, which is crazy to think about how we were talking about this literally at this time last year. And flies, and WWE better do justice by him before the L7C really starts coming down their throat. So, yeah, I mean, that's really it. John Cena's talking about he wants to come back. I'm like, shoot, someone needs to beat the Tribal Chief because ain't nobody beating him. I don't think there's a full-time talent who's beating Roman Reigns. And I know that pains Byron, the captain, but I really do not think there's a full-time talent who's going to beat that man.
There's not. We've said it. He's not losing that title till The Rock comes back.
Mm-hmm.
And then, even then, he's going to lose it. By then, they're going to have someone else build up to take it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's how it's going to work. Accept it and move on. Acknowledge your Tribal Chief for another year and a half.
And when he does go down, that pop might be one of the loudest pops we've ever heard.
They're doing long-term story writing on this, which is fine. It is what it is. At least he's heel. If he was face, I'd be more pissed off. But he's heel. I'll take it.
Right. Well, I mean, with that being said, shoot. I mean, thank you everyone for listening to L7C Podcast Wrestling Edition. Thank you, Jacob, for being on. Sorry that Backlash was not the greatest for everybody, but we're gearing. I'm personally trying to get to Money in the Bank for WWE wise, and because I feel like whoever wins that briefcase, boy or girl, is going to be monumental. As long as Charlotte does not win the briefcase, so because then we know, and that'll be another championship. And I'm gonna say it on every podcast, just in case a WWE person listens. If you're counting Charlotte's NXT titles into her title reign, count it for freaking everybody. Please, Lord Jesus, make it fair. It makes no sense. Like, I'm just like, Charlotte, where are you getting these numbers from? I have the wiki right here. God. Like that's why people can't take the announcement serious. It's like, so she's 13, 11-2, but
oh, announcing Pat McAfee's the man.
He's doing well.
He's doing great. Shout out, Pat.
Don't know how much they're paying him, but as long as he wasn't someone who took away someone's job, I will be okay with him.
If he'd take away Tamina's job, I'd be okay with it.
Well, that ain't happening. Eva already took away all the ladies' jobs, and the Evolution. Man, wait till her first match. We might not talk about anything else but that match.
Eva's going to be a big talking point when she debuts.
That's the truth, brother. But again, thank you everyone for listening to L7C Podcast. Thank you, Jacob, for being on. We'll be back in 2 weeks talking some more wrestling, and you know the story with the L7C. Whenever this episode goes out, the next day something crazy happens. So be on the lookout in the wrestling world. You guys take care. Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C Podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.